Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar event. My name is Joshua. I'm going to be your presenter today. Okay, so let's go into accounting. We are updated here to 24-22-2. We're going to go into pay bills. This is kind of a complex topic, folks. So we're going to try to get this wrapped up within the 20 minutes if at all possible. I'm going to try my best, but I'm not going to shortchange you on it, I promise. Quick pay, and right up here at the top of pay bills, quick pay and view outstanding bills. Okay. So, I know it seems kind of oversimplified with regards to this, but the bottom line about outstanding bills here is this list is that if bills and payments or vendors are paid properly, when we're dealing with bills and payments correctly, this list should be empty, should be blank entirely. Okay. Their only bills that may appear here would be any current bills that are entered but not yet paid. And that would be, and if to take it even a step further, is if you're working or living on a cash basis, then this list should be clear, period. It's that simple. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So the fact that we've got some bills in here is concerning, problematic. Again, if you're, can't you enter the bills and you can't pay them entirely due to some financial issues that may be occurring for your church, then fine. We might have some bills in this list. But if you're living and working on a cash basis, my story is, and I'm sticking to it, is this list should be clear. So this oftentimes needs to be investigated forensically to try to find out what's going on, okay? However, with that being said, there is information on this screen here that oftentimes folks overlook that will provide some answers and some help, okay? So first of all, the date occurred on the transaction, and looking at these, we can clearly see we've got a few separate issues in different periods. We've got a bill outstanding from 2012 and then some from 21 and 23. There are different problems, but I've constructed this data in such a way to kind of cover as many of the scenarios as we can possibly find here or create or have that I see. But again, this is a forensic bookkeeping and accounting issue at this point, folks, okay? So as I said, there's some information on this screen that will provide some help. First of all, on the far right, the column called amount due. That amount due, the amount that appears in that field to the right, is always the amount of the particular bill or line item that you're looking at. So I can say with complete certainty that on June 19th of 2023 on the left, I had posted a bill for Christian Bible supplies in the amount of $654.32. Okay? And the same is true for my Columbia Gas. We've got several issues in here, a couple in here for Columbia Gas. But what I know is I've got three bills, one from 2012 for $169.12, one from December of 21 for $912.46, and one from April of 23 for $158.01, okay? Regardless of whatever the account balance is, okay? I mean, they may tie to the account balance, it may not, depending on the problem, okay? So the ones that are the most easy to deal with on here, and this is covered on the very first section of the document, the handout, is the outstanding bills with a zero balance, okay? So right here, we can clearly see AEP, American Electric Power, Alex's Plumbing show an account balance of zero with the amount due for each one of those bills. I am 99% sure, based on that account balance being zero, if not more, 99.9, that the bill was entered and then paid, but when the payment was posted, the little check mark that would leave the bill outstanding was unchecked, and that explains why this bill is outstanding, okay? And based on there being another one in 21 for Columbia Gas, I may have the same type of problem there as well, okay? But you should be able to figure out, many times you can figure out, how the account balance relates or doesn't relate to the amount due based on simply getting out your calculator. But we're not going to take the time to do that today. Okay, we don't have time for it. So knowing that these two, at least two and maybe three, have been paid, how do we mark those as paid? Well, that document at the top details how that occurs. So we've got to change our year back to 21. So we're going to go up to Special Functions, Manage Years, change to another existing accounting year. We're going to go back to 21, click OK. Now we're going to go up to Transactions and Browse. We're going to have the software do some work for us to find these bills. So we're going to go right up here to Change Year, Filter, and Sort. Over on the far right, it's already looking at 21 only. On the far right, I'm going to click Clear All next to my transaction types, checking just bill, expense transactions. And then directly to the very far left, I'm going to uncheck Show Paid and simply click OK. And here are those three bills: AEP, Alex's Plumbing, and sure enough, Columbia Gas. Okay. So again, AEP and Alex's Plumbing both showed a zero balance. The bills can be marked as paid by simply clicking the bill, click Correct. Up here in the upper right corner, mark as paid. I always suggest make a note of the date of the bill and the amount. So November of 21 for $123.45, mark as paid. Now I scroll up or down until I find November of 21, and sure enough, there's an EFT payment to Columbia Gas for $123.45. I highlight that, click OK, and save correction. It now says your corrections have been saved. And I like to show folks that notice it's taken that out of my list of bills because it no longer meets the criteria of an unpaid bill. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing with Alex's Plumbing. Click the bill, click Correct, click Mark as Paid. Right here in December of 2021, I've got a November of $1,500 here for that. Click that payment, click OK, and save corrections. So secret here, folks, okay, if you've got a payment that represents or that offsets or supports the bill that you've entered, choose it. But if you don't overthink it. I could technically pick any payment in that list and it would still allow me to remove that, clear that, okay? So we're going to check this for the Columbia Gas bill as well for December of 2021. We're going to highlight it, correct it, click the Mark as Paid, and we're going to look in December of 2021. And sure enough, right there, we've got a bill or a payment entered for $912.46 that, again, supports that amount. Right down here, our bill is $912.46. So that I know was paid too. So we're going to highlight that payment, click OK, and save corrections. Okay? So corrections have been saved. Now our list is empty. Those bills have all been cleared out of that list. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come back into 2023 and we're going to go back to Quick Pay, Pay Bills, Quick Pay, and View Outstanding Bills. And those three bills are now gone. Okay, couple things about this. Marking bills as paid in no way changes any account balances. There's no need to update any beginning balances across years. We're simply tying the bill to a payment to say that it's been paid. That's all we're doing, okay? We didn't post anything that changed amounts, so there's no need to update balances, beginning balances from 21 into 2 and then 2022 into 2023. No need for any of that, okay? So again, just be aware, one of the most common problems we get through support is, why do I see all these bills in here that have zero account balances but have amounts due? And we simply go, well, I can't explain exactly why, but the zero balance confirms that it was paid, just mark it as paid and walk them through mark it as paid, and that sure enough takes care of most of those, okay? Now, the one for Christian Bible supplies for 2023, I've got an amount due and an account balance that are the same. So again, I've got to forensically find out what happened there. So the two first things that come to mind are either I've got a missing payment or perhaps I've got a duplicate bill. but I can't speculate. I've got to find out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out and I'm going to go back up to transactions and browse. And again, we're going to have the software do some work for us. We're going to find our vendor of Christian Bible supplies. There it is. And I could narrow it down to June of 2023, but if I say had a bill and a payment that were dated in different months, that could be misleading. So I'm going to start broadly and I'm just going to leave it as the vendor for 23 and click OK. First thing I like to have folks be aware of, and I do this on my support calls all the time, is if we steer our focus right down here, folks, to the very bottom. Do you see the debit and totals and the credit totals at the bottom? Those are unbalanced. So that tells us that one of my two things that I've stated is true, either a missing payment or duplicate bill. So if I kind of, this is one of the things that I say is kind of the beauty of a payable system, is that when you come in and look at it from the vendor account standpoint, I can literally match up bills and payments and dates. So right here, I've got a bill and a payment in January, $456.78, bill and payment in March for $1,234.56, May. Now here we are getting somewhere. So now in June, I've got a bill and a payment for $753 and bill and a payment for $753, but I've only got one bill entered here for that. Then I notice later on June 19th, I've got another bill and a payment that's entered here, okay? Here's other information on this window that can provide some insight. If we steer our focus further to the right, notice we've got our paid column. And we notice that one of those bills, this one right here, dated June 19th, does not have paid marked. That is we have a duplicate bill, okay? So simply I would highlight that bill. I'm going to reverse it. I would call enter comments of some kind. They're optional. Entry. Click OK. It'll say, are you sure? Click yes. Click OK when it's been reversed. And now notice our debits and credits are balanced. So we've put into Christian Bible supplies in the form of bills and we've paid them out equally. Now when we go back to pay bills, quick pay, and view outstanding bills, that one is now gone. Okay? So similarly, again, I've got a couple different issues going on here with Columbia Gas. Account balance versus amount due. This account balance is, who knows where it's coming from, okay? But we've got to look into it. Certainly, again, I'm in 23, so looking at 158.81 is certainly going to be the first one because I'm in that year. So again, I'm going to go right up here, go to browse, go to here. We're going to find Columbia Gas, and click OK. And our debits and credits are again unbalanced. Looking at my bills and payments, we notice right here I've got a bill and a payment in January, bill and a payment in March. I've got a bill in April, but no payment. Okay, so I now have to go in and record that $158.81 payment. Assuming I paid that, if I cross-reference my records with them and I go, oh, I did pay them $158.01 in April, I've got to pay that. So here we would want to edit our date occurred here on the right to put it in 04/17/2023. We're just going to choose EFT as our payment method. I'm checking that bill and click post. Before we do that though, notice show running balance now shows Columbia Gas balance now of $912.46. Okay, so we're getting closer and we click post. Okay. But now when we go back up to view outstanding bills, we are left with one account balance of $912.169. We're down to one. Now this is where things get really tricky, folks. Okay, so we know that there's a bill in December 2nd of 2012 for $169.12. Okay, but why is the account balance different? Well, who knows? We'd have to, again, look into that. But if we assume, and we would want to go into 2012 and maybe look at that. So let's go and try that. Okay. So if we go up here to special functions, manage years, we go to change to another existing accounting year. We go down here to 2012, but whoa, wait a minute, back up a step. 2012 is closed. I can't go back into 2012 and mark that bill as paid. So what options do I have with regards to that? Well, that's a good question. I'm going to definitely not go back to 12 and post anything. I'm going to deal with everything in probably 2023 here in July or August. Well, the first thing I would do is I would come right in here into Columbia Gas vendor in 23, and I'd go right here to the balance tab. And sure enough, we see that there was a balance that was brought forward from a prior year for $912.46. Okay. And I could go back into the prior year and look at that. Okay. But what if I don't? Okay. What if I just simply want to clear the bill out? Since I can't go back into 2012 as market as paid, what do I do? Well, here's what I would do. I would post a dummy payment on, say, October 8th for $912.46. We're kind of proverbially killing two birds with one stone, folks, okay? So we're using this one payment transaction to both mark our bill as paid and to clear out our account balance, okay? So we're going to click a create payment. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this amount to pay to be for my $912.46. And I want to make it just an EFT transaction. Okay, I'm basically saying I took money out, that paid money out to this vendor that I didn't. Okay. And again, I like doing show running balance because it verifies now that Columbia Gas adjusted balance to the right is now 0. Okay. But I'm also clearing that invoice from 2012 by checking the Pay Now box. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and post that. But what have I now done? Well, I've essentially put a $912.46 withdrawal on my bank reconciliation, okay, that isn't going to ever appear on a bank statement. So what do I do about that? Well, I'm just going to go up and post a journal entry or an adjust asset transaction, and we'll do journal entry. I'm going to date that today, and essentially we're just going to put in, not going to post it to Columbia Gas. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post it to my Huntington Bank checking account, debiting $912.46, and I'm going to credit that money back to my general fund, okay? I don't need to put it back into the vendor account because I've now got it at 0 right where I want it to be, okay? Done, add to batch, and just again showing running balance. My operating fund is now, less red because I've put 912 back into it. I'm going to post that. Now when it comes to my bank reconciliation for August, I'm going to check that deposit journal entry and the dummy withdrawal for $912.46. Those two transactions wash one another out. It doesn't negatively impact my difference to reconcile. And my now pay bills, quick pay, and view outstanding bills is now empty. Okay? The data, folks, will tell you what's wrong if you let it. Yes, I could go back into a prior year, and clearly since Columbia Gas brought that forward a balance from the prior year of $912.46, but am I going to go back into that year and change anything here in August of 23 for a prior year? Not likely. Not when I can fix it that easily in the current period. Maybe if I wanted to find out what it was, I would go back and do that, but I'm not going to change anything in that prior period, and I'm only going to fix it now as we've done now. So we did go a couple minutes long, folks. I apologize for that, but that is where I'm going to leave our topic for today.